What is up, Facebook Live? Happy Friday the 13th. Ooh, that's interesting. Anyways, hopefully you are having an amazing morning, evening, afternoon, late night, celebrating this day somewhere in the world. Let me make sure this is coming through loud and clear on Facebook. It should be. As you're tuning in, I'd love to know, for those of you watching, oh yeah, there we go, loud and clear. For those of you watching, love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I'd love to know 3 things you're grateful for in the world today. Cody, nice to see you. Today's topic, for those of you just tuning in for the first time, we are going to be chatting about what your results were from the past 3 months, quarter one. We're going to have a handful of questions to think through. Did you get everything you dreamed of? Did everything happen as expected? How did you do personally and professionally in quarter one? And then we're going to have a handful of questions to help you prepare and make sure you have a really solid plan for quarter two, the next 3 months, or the 3 months we're in right now. So to get started, though, I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know 3 things you're grateful for in the comment section, wherever that is on your screen. Let's see. Good to see you all. I see the number ticking up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and share this in a couple places, see if we can get a handful more people to come and join us. Boop, boop, bam. Chelsea, nice to see you. Welcome. So I'll share it here. Sandy from Sydney, what's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Again, as you're tuning in, I'd love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know 3 things you are grateful for, or 3 great things that have happened, let's say, in the last 24, 48 hours. Let me see. Let me share this. Lorelei, Newport Beach, California. Grateful for my kids, Kyle and Sage, my UPW mastermind, accountability partner for you and Tony. Thanks. Paul from Indiana. 3 things: family, awesome friends, and delicious milkshakes. Cool. What flavor? Let's see. Where's a good group? There's a good group. I'll share it here. Boop. That should be good. All right. So we got some awesome people from around the world joining us. Let's dive in. Again, if you're just tuning in, one more time for the comments. Chelsea, grateful for my gorgeous day out finally. Yeah, it was beautiful out today, actually. Let's see. If you're just tuning in, love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know 3 things you're grateful for. Go ahead and toss it in the comments section. Sandy says, grateful for my health, my family, and my mentors. Very cool. I love that. Paul, vanilla and hot fudge. Delicious, my friend. Delicious. Let's see. So let's start off. If you were to give yourself kind of a rating, and you're going to want a pen and paper for today's episode or tonight's episode. Jonathan from Chicago, grateful for my kids and my wife. Very cool. Welcome. You're going to want to grab a pen and paper, or you can use the comment section as your pen and paper of where you're going to jot some notes during today's session. But we're going to do a little bit of planning. And the first place we're going to start is looking back at the past 3 months. How did you do? So let's start there. Let's give it a rating. We'll start broad. How many of you, let's say, exceeded your expectations, meaning what you wanted to accomplish in your personal life, in your health, your family, your relationships, your emotions, what you wanted to accomplish over these past 3 months, you crushed it. You exceeded what you hoped, dreamed, and desired would happen these past 3 months. So if you did, you can write, I crushed it in the little comment section there. How many of you in the personal category of life, you kind of you didn't exceed it, you didn't crush it, but you did good. You met your expectation. You did what you said you were going to do, in your health, in your fitness, in your emotions, your spiritual life, your family life. Like, you did what you said you were going to do. You stuck to the plan. You did it. So I crushed it. I did it. Or how many of you fall in the category number 3, which is, oof, I did not do it. Meaning you had a great vision, exciting plans, something that riled you up and stirred up all those great emotions that got you all worked up and excited. And you were talking about how amazing it was going to be. And now sitting here 3 months later, you go, what in the world happened? How many of you fall in that category? Say, maybe got my butt kicked would be the title for that. So let me write these down so I remember them. But so far we got a scale, a 3-part scale based on the past 3 months. And we're going to say this is in your personal life. So personal life, and it's just an overall, we'll get specific in a second here. But in your personal life, either I crushed it, meaning you went far beyond your expectations. You totally crushed it. Number 2, I did it, meaning I stuck to the plan. I did what I said I was going to do. Number 3, got my butt kicked, and it took you to school. Now, what's interesting is it could be categorical for some of you, meaning in your health you might have crushed it. In your relationship, it kicked your butt. I'm sorry. We said met expectation. Thank you for writing that. So Paul says, personal, I meet expectation. Perfect. So you met the expectation in your personal life. Wonderful. And so we're just being broad. And, I realized I was going to say this real quick. Some of you, the concept of in your health, you might have exceeded your expectation, but in your relationship, you got your butt kicked. But overall, in your family and the other areas, if you average them together, you met the expectation. You did what you said you were going to do. A couple below, couple above, but mainly right in the middle. That's okay. We're just taking an overall picture, and then we're going to get specific in a second. So how did you do overall if you kind of average out the majors of life? If you're not familiar with the majors, right there in that book, chapter 2 and 3, we talk about the major categories of life. Your health, your emotions, your family, your personal intimate relationship, your business, your finances, and in your spiritual life. So those major concepts of life that if you happen to mess any of these up really bad, eventually it'll take you out of the whole game of life. So those concepts, how did you do in your personal? Now let's swap over to professional. If you swap over your professional categories of life, for those of you who, if you're in a career, meaning you have very specific tasks and focus, but you also have goals, you have very specific things that you said you would accomplish over these past 3 months, whether that's selling so much for your company or growing the organization or better optimizing your performance of your team. If it's your overall company, were you able to drive the team forward and have a clear and specific plan that allowed them to execute to get the results that you all desired from the beginning of the quarter? And you either, number 1, absolutely crushed it on the professional level. Number 2, you met expectations. You did what you said you were going to do. Or number 3, you got your butt handed to you in quarter 1 of this year. I'd love to know. And I appreciate those of you who are participating in the comment section. Always great to see kind of what the results are and as they're coming through. So we started off, for those of you just joining us, I see the number ticking up and down here. First talking about our personal life. So all the personal categories, and we said, in this last quarter number 1, last 3 months here, did you crush it? You went above what you dreamed, desired, and were going after? Did you meet the expectation? You did what you said you were going to do? Or number 3, did you get your butt kicked? Then we jumped over to the professional category. So your job, your business, what it is you do professionally. Again, did you crush it? Did you meet your expectation or get your butt kicked in the business world there? Paul says professional, crushed it. Personal, met the expectation. Hey, good enough. That's pretty good. Now, for everyone else out there, I'd love to know how you did in the comment section. Now, because the next thing we're going to do is, as we go through this, what I want you to do is pick a specific category. So we're going to go through these categories together, And let's, start on the personal side, and we'll go through each one and we'll figure out the answer to a couple questions. Number one, let's start with health and fitness. So to get specific, granular in your health and fitness, did you crush it? Did you meet the expectation, or did you get your butt kicked? And if you absolutely crushed it, here's the question. What do you need to repeat? What do you need to repeat in quarter two to replicate or better the result that you're aiming for? What do you need to repeat in quarter number two to replicate or better the result that you're going after here in your health and fitness? If you crushed it. Chelsea says professional, met expectations overall. Very nice. Sandy says heading in the right direction, not happening as quickly as expected. Fair enough. Hassan, self-awareness. Hi, Jairek, grateful for my awareness. Oh, self-awareness. Very nice. So in this category, health and fitness, did you crush it? Did you meet the expectation? Or did you get your butt kicked? Quarter number one. If you crushed it, big question. What do you need to replicate, to repeat, to do again in order to continue exceeding the expectation that you're going after? If you met the expectation and you're proud of it, you're like, hey, I did it. Question, what do you need to replicate to meet it again? And what do you need to either start doing or stop doing to exceed the expectation in this next quarter? Meaning, what do you need to adjust? If you met the expectation, what do you need to either start doing or stop doing that will allow you to exceed and go beyond what you were able to achieve in this last quarter? Something to think about. So Sandy, when you say you're heading in the right direction, but not as quickly as expected, here's a big question. Well, if you want to pick up the pace, if you want to go quicker, what do you need to either start doing or what do you need to stop doing that will allow you to pick up the pace and go quicker in the direction you're going? It's a big question. There's usually something. Either something you're doing that's slowing you down or something you're not doing that would speed you up. If you can figure out what those are, all of a sudden, you know where to aim, you know what to optimize for. Chelsea says, health and fitness, need to go to the gym again. It helps. Depends on what you're optimizing for. So another big question that we probably should have started with is, in quarter two, what are you going to optimize for in your health and fitness? Now, based on what you're trying to optimize for, are you exceeding it? Are you meeting it? Or are you behind? Or you're getting your butt kicked. Depending on the where you're falling there. If you're exceeding it, what do you need to replicate in order to stay on track and continue to exceed it? If you're meeting it, what do you need to stop doing or start doing as well as replicate? So first you got to replicate what you did, and then you got to either start or stop doing something to exceed where you're headed. If you're behind, then you don't want to replicate anything. You need to step back and say, hey, what did I learn that I should not be doing anymore? How do I reset the framework, reset the plan, and figure out what needs to happen that didn't? Another way to say this is, what were you expecting to happen that didn't? Normally, this is why we fall short of our goals or our visions or our plans. We expect something to happen, and when it doesn't happen, we go, oh, we totally missed it. So what did you expect to happen that didn't happen, that caused you to miss if you fell short? Sandy says, more confidence needed to introduce something new. Okay. Now, when you bring up confidence, here's a big question. What would you need 100% certainty in to know that it was the right time to bring whatever something new is to market or something new is to the table? What would you need 100% certainty in? Usually there's something we need certainty in. I'll give you an example. In the business setting, if I said, hey, let's do business together. For every $100 you give me, I'll give you 1,000 in return. You would need certainty in 3 things. Number 1, me. You need to know, hey, if he says it, he means it and he delivers. Number 2, you need to have certainty in my plan or process, the way in which it's going, the transaction, the way it's going to happen, meaning the way we do business, the team, the process. But then number 3, you'd have to have confidence in that $1,000 that it's real. So you'd have to have confidence in the product. So you need confidence in me as the individual. You need confidence in the product, and you need confidence in the company, meaning how our processes and systems work, to know that, hey, this is a good deal and I'm going to do it. So the same thing. I don't know what category you're talking about. If we're talking about business or personal, what do you need confidence in to know that now is the right time to introduce that new thing? It's a big question. Now, I'm going to save you the time. If you want to continue the process, it's real simple. Do the same exact thing we just did, but now do it emotionally. How did you do emotionally this past quarter? Did you exceed it? Did you have more joy, more passion, more fulfillment, more excitement, more determination and love and abundance and fulfillment than you've ever experienced in your entire life? You were blissed out of your mind and you have no clue how to happen, but it was spectacular. Did you do okay? It was a good, I liked it. It was good. Did you do okay? Or did you get your butt kicked? Man, I felt like life was tossing me around the ring. I've never had my butt kicked so bad. One day I'm happy, one day I'm sad. One day I'm excited, one day I'm pissed. I don't even know what happened half the time. Depending on how you did emotionally, what you experienced all throughout this last quarter, either you exceeded the expectations emotionally every single day, you did okay, or you royally got your butt kicked. Now, whatever happened, couple questions. What do you need to replicate? What do you need to start doing? What do you need to stop doing? And really, truly, how do you need to adjust the plan to make sure you're really set up to optimize and maximize this next quarter? Chelsea says, no, stress the hell out. Okay, so you got your butt kicked in this category. Now, what do you need to stop doing? Certain things you could stop focusing on, certain things you could stop doing that cause the stress. What do you need to start doing? Certain little habits or rituals you could do every day. The breathing techniques we talk about, the meditation, the breath tracker, the little Spire thing that tracks your breathing. All these little things, what you say to yourself all day long, the music you listen to. There's a really great app called Pazziz. It's one of my favorites. I know we've talked about it before. They have a new feature on there called Focus that uses binaural beats. So if I open up the little Pazziz app, I'll show you. It uses so the little bottom says Focus. If you click it, it uses binaural beats to keep your body and brain in a focused state while you're busy doing whatever you're doing. So it's a really great resource, because what it allows you to do is you plug that in your headphones, and then you just jam and work, and it'll keep your body completely in a focused state. It'll get your breath rhythm in the focus, and it'll keep your brain waves in that focused state all throughout the activity. It's really nice, especially if you feel a lot of stress in what you're doing all the time. I've got Spire on 2/10. Okay, so this is something you want to adjust in the next quarter. You want to figure out, what do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? And then how do you need to adjust the plan to make sure that you can find that kind of zone mentally and emotionally to stay totally focused, calm, centered, and really enjoy the next. Now, that's if you just want to be even, if you just want to do okay. If you want to exceed it, what emotions do you want to feel every day? And what can you start doing or stop doing to experience even more of those emotions? I don't want to get to the end of this quarter and feel okay. I want to get to the end of the next quarter and feel amazing, fulfilled, thrilled, passionate, determined, excited, resourceful, creative, elated. I want to feel all these emotions. So if you want to feel more of these emotions, you got to write down the emotions you want to feel. And then you got to make it a goal every week to say, okay, what can I do to experience more of these emotions? Now, I'll give you a clue, something my dad's taught for decades now. Emotion is created by motion. So if you want more joy in your life, how do you have to move your body every day to feel joy? Is joy like, yes? Or is joy like, woohoo? Like, what is joy? What's the movement of joy? Is it like, oh, and just feeling the love? What's the movement of joy you could do every day? And as silly as it sounds, for some reason it works. Sandy says, it's hard when others aren't doing the work on themselves and reach out to me to drain my positive energy. Ooh, so what do you need to stop doing in order to keep them from draining your energy? You might need to stop having as many connections with them and start finding others you can get around that will add more energy and more life and more joy and more of the positiveness into your life. Now, does that mean cut them out and never talk to them? No, it means limit it and replace it with something that amplifies it. Or what else could you do? Maybe you start bringing more positive into their life that, you build up so much positive in yours and you overflow it into them so that they too have more positivity filling up. Maybe you need to start, doing group random acts of kindness trips, group exercise, group meditation, where you invite them with you and you do the things that boosts happiness. There's a wonderful book right there, the red one, that it's called The Happiness Advantage. It talks about scientifically proven ways to boost your overall happiness in life. In our new high performance program, if you go to udemy.com/high performance, there's a program there that we have. And one of the modules is on boosting overall happiness. And it gives you the scientific proven steps you can do to boost your overall happiness. And so that could be something, Sandy, that you do with them, or buy them a copy, give it to them, be like, hey, check out this program. It's all about high performance. Now, we sneak in some things in that program to make sure people are happier, healthier, stronger, more fulfilled, and better versions of themselves. So that way in the business world and in the personal world, we're helping people optimize themselves as a human being in all ways there. So we kind of took it from all angles and have guest experts come in and talk about all those different bits and pieces to optimize the individual. Chelsea says, what is that? I think we were talking about Pizizz. It's an app. It's spelled Pzizz. And let's see, I don't know how to show it to you. It's the little purple P, Pzizz, if you see it. And then if you click it, it looks like this. And it says, do you want to sleep, take a nap, or focus? And what it does is it mixes NLP, hypnosis, and binaural beats to help people either fall asleep quicker, people who have trouble sleeping, to take a power nap, so to regenerate. I use it when we travel, so it helps me regenerate. If I wake up on the wrong time zone and feel exhausted, I'll use that 3 or 4 times and then bam, go conquer the day. And then the third piece is focus. So you can turn it on your headphones. It'll go through binaural beat rhythms and keep your body and mind completely focused while you're doing stuff throughout the day. Let's see, Lorelei, Sandy, I think those you feel drained by need your energy to be mentored by you. Use this as positive fuel to empower you and do good. Oh, that's wonderful. It's very kind comment there. I love it. So wherever you are emotionally, what do you need to adjust, start doing, stop doing, to be on track to experience the type of emotions you want to feel? Something I do every week, it's simple. I sit down and I write out my goals. And so, my emotional goals for the week, I want to be able to cultivate and experience more love, joy, passion, purpose, curiosity, focus, determination, drive, hunger, strength, divine guidance, bliss, fun, creativity, strength, courage, resourcefulness daily, to experience and live miracles daily. So these are things that I want to experience. And then sample examples of how to do it: gratitude flood daily, random acts of kindness, daily fill up and fuel up. Ask more powerful questions. What's great about today? What's beautiful about today? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Choose an emotional flood daily, where you choose an emotion and just think about flooding it into your body and experience it. Put the music on that makes you feel it. Go look at the pictures, read the books, read the things that make you feel that way. Be in the places around the people that kind of stimulate that emotion in your mind and body. And then watch 10 minutes of funny every single day. Laughter heals. It's a beautiful stress reducer, as well as a beautiful way to balance your body and your energy. So those are all kinds of things you could be doing more of each and every day to add more joy and more positive emotions and beautiful emotions to your life. If you keep going, so you have emotions. What about your relationships? How'd you do in quarter one? I have lots of clients who've recently had babies, and when you recently have a baby, it's a challenge a lot of times emotionally, and then with your relationship. All of a sudden, there's a new little character in your home who's demanding things, and it starts to, push and pull and change the dynamics. Chelsea, how do you get into the habit of doing that all the time? Writing out the weekly plan? That's important. That's a game changer. I actually caught myself. I was sitting down. I was doing this exact process earlier today. I was like, okay, what went great in quarter one? How did I do? What? And in a lot of areas, not all, a couple areas need improvement for me, but in most areas for quarter one, I went far beyond expectations. Like things were way beyond what we planned for. Like we killed it in a great way. And what's interesting is I sat there and scratched my head and go, what in the world were we doing? And one thing that we were doing that we need to keep doing is writing out those weekly goals. And so it's something we did a whole session on here before. This concept, I don't know if you can see that, where I jump on here and in the middle I write the outcome I want to achieve. So relationship, to make my wife feel like the most loved, adored, seen woman on earth, to acknowledge and appreciate all of who she is and strives to be daily, to anticipate ways to love and adore her and be 100% present and put us first. It's like, wow. And then write down, why is that important is the second piece. So, to cherish the greatest gift life has to offer because I love her, because I can, to leave a love legacy, to strengthen and grow daily together. And then a map. How are you going to do it? What's your plan? So date night, listen and learn and fulfill on what she needs, wants, and desires daily. Strive to turn her dreams into reality daily. Anticipate and praise her daily. Appreciate and praise her daily, and find more ways to fill and fuel her daily. So it's that little paragraph that says, okay, this week, this is what I want to do. Boom. Here's my outcome. Why do I want it? So what do I want? Why do I want it? Here's all the reasons why it's important to me. And then how am I going to do it? How am I going to make that happen? Here's the list of things I'm going to do each and every day to make that reality. And at the end of the week, you got to ask the question, how'd you do? Did you really do it? And every day, not only do I talk out loud and speak the 20-year vision. I'm so grateful. Health and fitness is stronger than ever before. At 50 years old, we're healthier and stronger than the majority of 20-year-olds in the world. But then I come over here and say, okay, what's my outcome for this week to know that I'm on track with that North Star? So that's something in my world that worked really well. Doing that consistently makes a huge difference in the ability to turn the vision into reality, because I know what the long-term vision looks like. And I know what has to happen this week to be on track with turning that into reality. And it works well. I hope that's useful, just as a thought of something that worked for me. Paul, do you set aside an hour to do this, or do you stretch it out over the day? So the process of writing out the weekly plan, I set aside about takes about 2 hours in the beginning, and eventually I can get it now down to under an hour. It took practice though to get there, but I can do that planning process where I write out, and I'll tell you, I have my health and fitness goals, my emotional goals, family goals, relationship goals, spiritual, finances. Then I flip the page and I have a whole plan for business. And so business, we have, our Performance Coach University program, the outcomes there, the coaching, speaking, marketing. So we have all these different categories of our business that we focus on. How do we optimize and maximize those? And what do we have to do this week to really crush it and make sure we get the most out of it? And so every day, though, those are read aloud, so I can think about them. I can lock my mind on them. I can hunt for times to get that stuff done. And it keeps me laser focused and constantly doing what's necessary to get the results we're going after. So number 3, your relationships. How did you do in this category over quarter number 1? Now, either we have three ways to measure. Either you crushed it, you met the expectation, or you got your butt kicked. Now, again, when you think through that concept, you want to step back and say, okay, based on how I did, what do I need? What do I need to replicate to stay on track and continue to meet and exceed the expectations? What do I need to adjust, either start doing or stop doing to get on track or to finally exceed the expectation? Or what do I need to adjust and completely do differently to actually get on track this next quarter? Oh, relationships is a thumb down. Okay, fair enough. So we have a rating. So in that category, what do you need to adjust? What do you need to stop doing that's going to allow you to have a better relationship over the next 3 months? Because there's certain things we're doing. We know that every time we do it, we go, oh, why did I do that? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. We know what we do. We're smart people. So what do you need to stop doing that you did, that if you were to stop doing, things would actually get better? It's always a great question. Second, what do you need to start doing more of? That if you did more of something, maybe more praising, more acknowledging, more appreciation, maybe more quality time together, maybe more little surprises. Like, my wife writes me all these little sticky love notes every morning when I come down to my office. They're usually plastered all over my computer here. And so I get all these little love notes of her expressing how much she loves me and how grateful she is and how I make her feel safe. And she says I'm the sexiest, loving, funny, hottest, bravest man in the world. Makes me feel good. And so I see little things she does like that and go, oh, she likes these. So just the other day, I waited till she left and I took one and wrote all these little notes to her and went and stuck them all over her, inside of her computer and in her books and all this stuff. So she came back, and then she came in the room with the biggest glowing smile on her face I'd ever seen that day. And she came in and, told me all those beautiful things of how it felt and how excited she was. Every day we go on a walk together, we hold hands and we tell each other, at least 5 things we're grateful for about each other. And then specifically, so, I'm really grateful you take time to feed me every day and make such amazing meals. And what I'm really grateful, beyond the food, I'm grateful that you take time to think about it. And I really appreciate that. I'm thankful that you invest the moments of life into making something that's so healthy and delicious and fulfilling and really filling on the inside, not just whipping something or throwing it around, and so specifics about it. If you identify a thing and then 5 specific attributes about the thing, it amplifies, according to Stanford research, it amplifies the emotional experience of it. Let's see. Paul says, great advice. Sometimes I think I'm exceeding here, but I could do better if I'm honest about it. Okay. So what do you need to start doing more of or stop doing that'll help you do better? Sandy, I'm single. Fair enough. But I work on the relationship with myself and grow in every way that I can. That's beautiful. One thing I did that really helped when I was single is I studied a lot of Alison Armstrong's work, and it was wonderful because it became less about finding that person, and it became more about offering what I had learned to all the people around me and understanding, how men and women tick. She has a wonderful book called The Amazing Development of Men that talk about the general stages of life that men develop through in the different ages they go through in their life and what they can and can't commit to, or what they can and can't be responsible for at different stages. And knowing that, it's a beautiful gift to be able to acknowledge them for their greatest gifts at the stage they're at, yet not expect from them anything beyond that, knowing that's where they're at. Give you an example. Older men, if you find a man in his late 60s, 70s, 80s, usually they have one thing that they've decided is the thing that their life is all about. And so when you find an older man and maybe they're at, let's say a family reunion. Now, either They're in the middle of the conversation and they're the life of the conversation because they're sharing the gift they feel they're here to give in the world. Or if they believe that their gift, the thing that they talk about all the time, the thing that they always want to share, because that's the thing they feel they were put here to do, is not valued in this room, you'll see them sitting in the corner kind of hunched over and quiet because they believe the gift that they're here to talk about or share isn't valued in the moment. So what's wild is if you want to give that older man a real true gift, and even in just a friendship version of relationship, bring up the topic he's most passionate and connected to in his life, that he feels is his purpose of what he's here for. Bring up that topic and ask him lots of questions about it and watch how you will light his soul on fire for the day. And he will share with you so much, and it'll make him feel so important and so valued. And you'll bring this human to life because you take time to bring up that topic. For ladies, it's different, but for a older stage man, that's a great gift. If there's a younger man, someone in their 20s or 30s, you can ask them what they feel is worth investing their life into right now at this stage of their life, and talk to them about it, plan with them, ask them, poke holes, challenge them a little. If they're real younger, like 18 to 20 something, 25, challenge them, challenge them. I bet you can't run up that hill. It's simple little challenges. You watch them come to life, and totally just a new version of them will show up in that moment because that's what they're stimulated by at that stage and age of life. So it's interesting. It's understanding where they're at and understanding what they're going through, and it allows you to offer gifts to the people at all stages and ages of life. Let's see. Maybe stop thinking I'm doing enough and really push light into the ones and love I interact with. Oh, beautiful. That's a beautiful thing to do. Going back to the examples of the things I try to do each week. When it comes to family, connect in deep, meaningful relationships. Deep and meaningful conversations. Create fun, magic moments. Love and celebrate them. So identifying things they're good at. So often, it's so easy for friends or family to call and tell you about what's wrong and how they're struggling and how life is so hard because they feel comfortable with you and they feel like they're in a safe space that they can share what's real with you. So a lot of times I'll make it a goal to try to listen or ask for different things that are going really well in their life, and take time to stop the conversation, acknowledge them for that, appreciate for that, celebrate for them that, write them a little card and mail it to them and do something so they feel, wow, I'm really proud of this. And what tends to happen over time is because you're the person who celebrates their successes the most, they tend to come back to you because it feels good every time they do something good in their life. And they tell you and go, oh, well, by the way, I won this little award at work. And you go, oh my goodness, that's incredible. Oh my gosh. And then you go, hey, hon, did you hear that my cousin won this little award at her work? And you go, oh, that's amazing. And if you're the one who celebrates their successes, they tend to come back to you every time they have a success instead of every time they have a freaking problem. And all of a sudden you become the person who gets to have all these great moments with them because you're the one who always amplifies the great stuff. Doesn't mean they're not going to share problems with you. That's great. Of course they're going to. They trust you. At the same time, though, you're going to start to get more of the stuff you celebrate. Let's see. If you got a lot to work on, how do you choose what to work on first? Ooh, brilliant question. There's a couple different ways to do it. The biggest thing you want to do, though, is you want to think of which ones are going to give you the best ROI, which ones are going to give you the biggest and best ROI for what you're trying to do. So let's just take an example. Someone says, well, I need to grow my business and sales, but I need more energy and I'm tired and exhausted and stressed out. So they're like, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work extra hard. And once I make enough money, then I'll go to the gym more because then I'll have the time and space to do so. That won't work. So flip it. Say, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym more so that I feel strong and healthy and abundant and alive. And then I'm going to take all that energy and I'm going to, bam, funnel it right into my work. So if you were going to pick categories that would go first, I would say make it mandatory to be the healthiest version of yourself to start with. Make it mandatory to emotionally be the most alive version of yourself, the most passionate, the most loving and fulfilled version of yourself. So if you started with those two, you're the healthiest, you're the most fulfilled version of yourself, you're mentally resilient and emotionally resilient. Then say, okay, out of all the other categories, what's next that's most important? Because now, you're full as a human, you're healthily full, your health is full and abundant, your emotions are full and abundant. So now you're going to pour out. So where are you going to pour out first? Now, this just depends on situational patterns. If your family needs to eat, you're going to need to work first. You're going to have to pour that love and energy and passion into work to make sure that, bam, you bring home the ability to pay the bills and cover everything. If really truly you're in a secure place, you're paying the bills, things are okay, then it might be pouring it into your relationship first, or pouring it into your family or kids first. It's situational depending on where to pour into first. Ideally, though, you want to ultimately get in a position where you can pour it everywhere. You have an abundance because you're taking such great care of yourself that you have an abundance of health and love and energy, and you can pour it in tons of different places all at once, all throughout the day. Traditionally, if you look at ages and stages of life, this is something we cover in our Performance Coach University program. What's normal? 0 to 18 years old. If you think of three circles kind of that represent the amount of focus in each category, the biggest category of your life from 0 to 18 is normally yourself. The second biggest category is normally 0 to 18, normally friendships or relationships. And then finally, a little tiny category that barely exists, 0 to 18, is usually work. Now, as soon as you turn 18, the biggest category becomes work. Next biggest category becomes self, and relationships tend to disappear a little. 18 to 30, right in there. Right around 30 years old, we get lonely. Hopefully, we've been successful in our business ventures, but we get lonely. So all of a sudden, it's work, then relationships. And the big problem that happens here, if you have your first child, you have a great relationship, you tend to lose yourself because you stop having time or ways to keep yourself at your absolute best. So what happens is you spend all day working, and then you spend all the extra energy on your family and relationship. And then you're like, oh, I'm exhausted and I don't have time to work out. I don't have the energy to work out. And you got to come up with a creative plan. Eventually, when you make it past there, things start to balance out a little. In your 40s, 50s, 60s, you start to see kind of symmetry where, work's important and relationships are important and self is important. I take time for all categories because I've earned the privilege to be able to do so. So those are standard kind of evolutionary stages people go through throughout their life. And if you're thinking of those and you're in your 30s, it would be normal to be work, the giant thing, and then relationships, the next, family relationships, and then self struggling. So this is a game we play, and I have plenty of clients in this position. The game we play is what's the minimum investment for the optimum return? Minimum investment, optimum return, meaning what's the least amount you could work out every day to be the healthiest and most fit version of yourself? What's the least amount of time you need to meditate or breathe or do emotional habits that make you fulfilled and abundant and alive and joyful to be the best version of yourself emotionally? Minimum amount of time. Now, not the ideal. If you had all the time in the world, you could spend all day doing this stuff. But if you have the little tiny bits of time, where can you squeeze it in? And people tell me, oh, there's no time for this. There's no time to speak my goals out loud. I wish I had time for that. I say, great, easy peasy, get in the shower. Go take a shower in the morning while you're doing your hair. Take a Ziploc bag, stick your goals in it, zip it shut, tape it to the shower wall. And while you're scrub-a-dub-dubbing, read them aloud. I'm so grateful 20 years from now, I'm able to have my health and fitness be stronger than ever before. And you get in there, get it done. And then you say, okay, what about health and fitness? Where's my workout? Well, if you're at home trying to work and take care of the kids at the same time, Google some of my favorite fitness videos, which are like, I don't know what they're called, Fitness Mom or Fun Fitness Moms or some stuff like that. And it's these creative moms who are fitness junkies. So don't expect to have their results instantly. But they're these creative moms who take normal everyday at home stuff. I don't know, cleaning the floor, like just random stuff you have to do at home. And then they make them into exercises. And I was like, how creative are these humans? Like, they're like mopping the floor, but the way they're doing it, they're like lunging this way and lunging up and lunging this way and lunging up and then lunging forward and lunging back. And I was like, wow, they're really creative. They're turning normal little things they have to get done anyways into exercise. I was like, how smart are they? They don't have time to go to the gym. They have 2 little toddlers in the video. So instead, they turn the daily experience into their way to tone and strengthen their body all day long. I was like, okay, that's pretty nifty. I did the same thing when I was working at a lumber yard for 3 months. I was like, okay, I don't have time to go to the gym. I was doing it, for 30 minutes in the morning at 4:30 in the morning. I was working all day and then 30 minutes at night. And I'm like, but I want more. So I used the lumber as my weights, meaning I would move my body in specific ways to get the workout in as I was just moving stacks of wood all day long. And then mentally I needed stimulation. So I'd plop my headphones in or turn on an audiobook and listen to it repetitively all day long to flood my mind and learn too. Let's see. I love the little rewards. I found it creates most respect and loyalty among your people more than anything. A little acknowledgement goes a long way. It goes a very long way. Acknowledging someone goes much further than we ever imagined. It's very easy for us to step back and go, oh, but you didn't do this, or you missed that, or this could have been better. Training myself, especially with my wife. She's really incredible, but especially with my wife, when she goes, oh, what do you think of this? Instead of being like, oh, what about this, or what about that, or did you think of this, or saying, wow, come up with 3 amazing compliments before I'd say anything else, even if it's so obvious how it could be improved or changed, but practicing being like, oh, this is great, and that's great, and this is great, and that's great, and this is great. It's incredible. You crushed it. And here's a couple things you might want to improve, but overall, it's amazing. That practice alone right there probably saves my head from getting chopped off most days. Because her and I have a similar question, which is we like to try to help and improve things. And, the process of acknowledging first and really pouring lots of love and really makes a difference and helps. So let's see. Health and fitness, how'd you do? Emotions, how'd you do? Relationships, how'd you do? What are we missing on here? Family, you could go into if you want to do that category. How you did with your family overall. Finances. How'd you do? How'd you do in your finances? Did you exceed the expectation in quarter number 1? Did you meet the goals and expectation, or did you get your butt kicked? I'll tell you, this is an area that we far exceeded our expectation. We had the best back to back 3 months in our business and finances than we've ever had. And every month I was scratching my head going, I don't know how we could do better than last month. Like, that was literally amazing. And then it would happen. I'd be like, oh my gosh, it did back to back to back. It blew my mind. And it was amazing how it all came together. So how'd you do finances? Did you exceed? Did you meet the expectation? Did you get your butt kicked? Now with that, there's also some areas of improvement for us. I think I overspent in a few areas, because as much as we made more, we also spent a little bit more. And I went, ooh. So one area I could improve on is cutting back expenses. One of my favorite exercises, if you get 3 highlighters, so 3 little highlighters, let's say a green one, a yellow one, and an orange one, or a red one. And in the green one, go through your P&L for the last quarter and highlight everything in green that you're like, oh, this is absolutely something that we must be spending money on. It's an absolute must, 100% committed. We can't live without it. Number 2, highlight everything in let's say, yellow that you're like, I could do without it, but I like it and it's useful and I'm going to keep it. So just in yellow, you could do without it, but you're choosing not to. And then highlight in red everything that you're scratching your head going, who in the world okayed that? Why did we spend money on that? Like that, what in the world were we thinking? So 3 different colors. I did this with a client of mine. He found out, and he's doing very well. He works for a major worldwide law firm. I did this with him, and he found out he was spending an extra like $40,000 to $50,000 a month in the red zone that he wasn't even aware of on his current P&L. And he pulled it out and went, holy mackerel, that's like $500,000 a year. What in the world are we doing? And I said, wow. He was telling me how he couldn't afford to buy investment properties or investments or invest in other businesses because he was low on cash. So we did this little exercise. We found out he was accidentally, and this is a big oops, accidentally spending an extra $50,000 a month on random stuff that he didn't need and he could easily cut out. And he was just blown away. He's like, wow, you paid for yourself in this one session. You just saved me what, $500,000 a year? Jeez. He's like, I feel stupid even admitting that it was on there. I said, don't, we found it. Ha, we win. But that concept's really easy. So not only how much you're making, but are you managing properly how much you're spending? It's the fastest way to grow a business. Help them cut back on some of the expenses, and instantly you grow their profit. Quick and easy. If you cut back their expenses by 20%, you had a 20% increase in profit all of a sudden. Bam, one session. Chelsea says, I have to try that. Yep. Marina, great one. Your career. So if we jump over into the business category, your career category, how did you do in this first quarter? Did you crush it? Did you do better than you ever imagined? Did you meet the expectation? You got the goal? Or did you get your butt kicked? You come in far behind and go, what in the world happened here? It's a big question there. How'd you do in your business, your career, your job, whatever you do there? I heard one of the most beautiful descriptions. There's so many people who use the concept of job. No one wants a job, just over broke. No way. And this guy came on, he says, you know what? Here's the truth. I'm a business owner, and I am, every morning when I pray, I say, thank you for my job. Because my job is to go and serve our clients who are my boss, to keep them happy, deliver what they need, what they want, what they desire, to meet their expectations, to over deliver for them, to show up for them, to be there to support them, to challenge them, to do what it takes to keep them at their best. And he says, I love the fact that I get to wake up and know that I have an amazing opportunity called a job to go and serve those people. He says, well, my job I own, so I am a business owner. I'm self-employed, which I'm grateful for as well. But he said too many people nowadays are waking up telling each other, you shouldn't, if you don't like your job, you should quit and go start a business. And the truth is, a business is a job. It's a job of service to the ones that you serve through your business. So I took that and I said, you know what? I love that. So I wake up every single day and say thank you for the opportunity to have a job to go and serve all of y'all out there who are our clients, and anyone who's a future client. I thank you. I appreciate y'all. And I think it's an honor and a privilege to be able to work each day so hard that we do to serve you and support you and help you be at your best. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to do so for whoever's tuning in that may work with us. Poppy, nice to see you. JC, I agree with that 100%. It is an opportunity. If you look back to the mindset of people in the Great Depression, it was beautiful. Someone who had a job, even at a factory job, would say, this is an amazing opportunity. It gives me the ability to put a roof over my family's home, or my family's head. It gives me the ability to put food on the table. What a beautiful and amazing opportunity is to have this job. I think there's too many people right now because of social statuses and all this jazz that are training us to be unhappy and dissatisfied with the ability to have a job that allows us to pay the bills and take care of the ones we love. And instead they're telling us, if you're not happy, quit, go do what you love. And I'm a big proponent of doing what you love. We wrote a whole book of how to design the life exactly how you want to live it and go make it happen. At the same time, if you have an opportunity called a job, dude, you better wake up and say thank you every morning for that opportunity. Because if it allows you to feed yourself, feed your family, and take care of the ones you love, that is a great honor and privilege in this world, at least in my opinion. But big question, how'd you do in that job? How'd you do in your career? How'd you do in your business? Did you far exceed the expectations? Did you meet those expectations? Or did you royally get your butt handed to you in what it is that you were going after? Now, however you did, big question. What do you need to replicate in this next quarter to make sure you absolutely continue to meet or exceed expectations? What do you need to start doing in your business that you might have not been doing this last quarter that you know if you started doing it, it would absolutely stimulate the growth you're looking for? And what do you need to stop doing in your business? What are the bad habits you picked up that you know if you stop doing those things, you would absolutely go out and kick some butt? That's a good preaching right there. Whoa. Give me a box, I'll say it. Let's see. Wish more people would realize that a job is an amazing opportunity. It is. It really is. That's not what we're trained nowadays. You know, you hear young people coming through school saying, oh, I don't want to ever have a job. I want to become Instagram famous and become an influencer so that people pay me to post pictures on my Instagram profile. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, if everyone in the world wants to do that, we're still going to need those hardworking people who put their arms and hands to work and go do some stuff out there. And so you got to think it through. And when you think the whole thought through, there's a lot of value and valor in the people who are willing to go to work every day and, work their tails off to take care of the ones they love. And so that ability to enjoy that process is very important, very important. So how'd you do? Did you crush it? Did it crush you? Or did you meet the expectation just as you planned? Now, however you did in your job, career, in your business, big question. What do you need to adjust to make sure you absolutely kick some butt and exceed your own, exceed what it is you're looking to do in quarter number 2? What do you need to do? One of the biggest things across the board for us to stay on track, or me to stay on track with my goals, is doing that weekly planning process. I caught myself this last week. I fell out of it. I didn't do it. And I sat down and I was thinking, what did I stop doing that I need to start doing? And I was like, for some reason, I didn't do my weekly plan this week. I think we had such a great quarter that I was kind of celebrating, and I wasn't thinking about focusing on what needs to get done to make sure we're absolutely crushing it. And so my wife and I had an amazing meeting on Monday. We nailed down some vision of what we want to do, and we've got some things in place, and our goals are kicking in. We have tons of leads flowing. Like, everything's working, but it's working so well that I wasn't doing the base level foundational activity that causes me to stay laser focused and on my A game. I went, oh my gosh, I missed one of the simplest things that I know I need to do, because it makes all the difference in the world to this guy right here. And so I pulled it out and I said, okay, I need to do this. So I read it aloud this morning, got all fired up, and holy mackerel, bam, just started going. Having your own business is a ton of hard work. It takes a lot to grow that greener grass. Absolutely does. I think one of my favorite things I've heard said is, 9 to 5 is a half day job. If you own the business, you work from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 10 at night. So for those business owners, I get invited all the time to speak at conferences and talk about it's interesting because they call it balance, but I don't think it's balance. I think it's optimization. It's figuring out, like we were talking earlier, depending on your stage of life, depending on where you're focused, what's the least amount you can do to get the best version of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, to optimize who you are as a human being. Because when you're optimized, you can go deliver 5, 10, 20, 30 times, what it is you want to do in the world, and have the energy to do so, have the focus to do so, have the life within you to do so. And so that's something that we focus on, optimizing human beings. And then we say, once your human being is optimized, now let's optimize the business growth. Because there's certain things you can do in your business that'll cause way more growth or way more revenue or way more profit specifically than others. The big mistake we all make, which is interesting, is that the concept of, we think revenue is killing it. I was talking to a friend today. We're going to do a little partnership coming up here on 3 different events. We're going to do an event for the Spanish-speaking market in South Florida, up in New Jersey, and then over in San Francisco. And we were talking together. And what's funny is he's talking about all the revenue we're going to earn. Oh, as long as we hit these numbers and all this happens, we're gonna hit X $million this year, and X more $1 million next year, and X more $1 million next year. And I was going, wow, look at that. That's incredible. I said, but I have a big question. How much of that is profit? He goes, what do you mean? It's a big question. How much is it going to cost to get that amount of revenue? I want to know. Because if you're telling me we're partners and I get a piece of this, I want to know what's going to be left over. How much am I going to get? And he's like, well, I didn't think of that. I said, well, run the numbers. Give me your budget. How much are you going to spend to make this happen? Because everyone gets so concerned with the top line and we're not thinking of the bottom line. So this is phenomenal that you're giving us so much of your time. Thank you. You're welcome, Poppy. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate y'all for being here. Chelsea, thank you for being up late, joining us. JC, success and failures cause us to lose that flow if we allow it. Thanks for being transparent. Of course. And that's the process. This is why we do like this session right here, hopefully is causing you to get to the end of a quarter of this year, 3 months, to sit down, to look at the areas of your life and business, to think through, did I crush it? Did I meet it? Or did I get my butt kicked? And then ask some questions where you got to really think. What do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? What do I need to repeat? What are the things I need to do to make sure that I not only hit the expectation this quarter, but I exceed the expectation this quarter? And if you're willing to do the planning like this, which is something we do every quarter, every year, I try to do it every week. At the end of every week, I sit down and I said, how did I do? Did I do all these things? And inevitably, I'll get to the end of the week and I'll read my plan and be like, well, this is what I plan to do every day. Pray daily, meditate daily, live as though every step is guided by faith, look for the God spark in everyone, everything. I'll be like, wow, I forgot to pray 3 days this week. Oh, Lordy. Okay, no problem. I'm going to focus on that this week because I know I can do better there. But what happens is if every week you have this written out and every week you take an hour of your life to map out the next 7 days of your life and you write it all down and you read it every day and you keep it in the forefront of your mind and you're watching it every day, according to the book Think and Grow Rich, you're programming your other than conscious mind, your subconscious mind. All the scientists say we use a very small percentage of our active brain in everything we do all day. So you're putting forth all these thoughts and energies in here and allowing your brain to manifest it and work on it 24 hours a day. So when would be the best time to read this plan? First thing upon waking in the morning, last thing before you go to bed, and hopefully right in the middle of the day. Read it so often that it keeps your mind focused on it and allow your brain, your subconscious, to go to work all day long to figure out new solutions and creative ideas that can help you turn your vision into reality. So and then taking time every week to do that, every day to read it aloud and experience it, taking time every quarter to sit down and ask these types of questions. And there's a lot more questions you could ask, but ask lots of questions like this and really analyze how you did, come up with a plan, figure out where you're going. And then every single day, constantly review it again and again and again. These things make a huge, huge difference. If you experience intuition or your gut guiding you, more often than not, it's what you fed into your subconscious mind, and then you allowed it to mull over again and again and again to get to a point where now it comes as intuition or a gut feeling that's guiding you intuitively to where you need to be to get to the result you really want to get. That's all that's happening. And it takes processes like this to make that real. Now, I just heard the garage open and close, which means my wife is home, which means I'm going to enjoy her company. So thank you all for tuning in. If you found this useful, feel free to click the share button and let others know that they should come tune in and check this out. Thank you all for so much of your time and energy and life. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you sharing this and helping us spread the great word everywhere it can. And I will see you all later. Hopefully you have an amazing evening, morning, day, afternoon. Thank you, thank you, thank you.